Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the first Filigran Community Q&A. We will wait a few minutes before starting to allow everyone to connect smoothly. Two more seconds and then we will get started. Okay, I think we can go now. Hello again and welcome. I'm Margot from Marketing at Filigran. Today we are kicking off a new format, the Filigran Community Q&A, with the presence of Julien and Samuel, co-founders of Filigran.
Nice to meet you, everyone.
In preparation for today's event, we shared a form for you to submit your question in advance. We have made a selection we believe will please everyone. So first, we will address the question we have received, and then we will answer any additional questions. So feel free to ask us anything in the chat. And as some of you may have seen, we announced on Slack and in the form that to celebrate the launch of this new format, we will hold a draw among the participants. We will announce the winner at the end of this session, and they will receive a Filigran gift, so be sure to stay until the end. Now you can see on your screen the first question we received, which is, are there plans to support sharing data using Taxi 1.1 and 2.0 in OpenCTI? And Julien, floor is yours.
Yeah, the one is for me. So hi everyone. So that's a good question because that's talk about supporting old version of Taxi implementation. So now, for now, the OpenCTI product only would say supports Sticks 2.1 with the extension system. and only this version. For absorption is a bit different. The 2.0 is supported and the 2.1, but for exporting information, we only export information in sticks 2.1 for taxi usage. So the reason is quite simple today. It's because the standard of taxi 2.1 is 3 years old, I think. So it's quite old already. So we support the latest version, and we do not plan to support oldest version. The reason it's quite simple. It's we try to push the new standard and the new way of doing stuff, and it's always a lot of effort to support. I would say. Past version, past way to share information. So it's a lot of work, and we prefer to push the new standard and invite everyone to be sticks 2.1 compliant instead of reinventing and redeveloping the old standard. So it's not planned in OpenCTI in the Filigran team. However, that's open source. So if you think that it's really important and you are ready to implement everything around taxi support for older version, I think it could be not simple, but affordable to do it in the product, but definitely not planned on our side because of the fact that it's really too old to be implemented.
Thank you, Julien. Okay, second question for Samuel. In OpenCTI, will we soon have the ability to add connectors and data sources directly through the UI?
Yes, so that's also an excellent question, and we know it's something that is, quite painful in the community at some point. So I just like to answer that question. I just would like to come back on the different feedbacks and comments we have on the systems we have implemented. On one side, we have a lot of feedbacks about the architecture of the platform, which is like microservices and a lot of and each connector running in one container, which is quite like flexible. And most of the time, we have very positive feedback about like having this kind of like mechanism, also because like it's splitting a lot like different concerns, technical concerns, but also functional concerns about like how the platform is actually working. That being said, changing the configuration directly at the infrastructure level, I would say, especially so the environment variables of the connector containers or the configuration files of those connectors can be sometimes a little painful. So we have like reflection internally to be able like to ease that kind of work, and but for the moment it's not like, let's say, short-term plans, but it's more like a reflection about like how we can make more seamless the experience about adding data sources. I would also add like that we didn't plan like the work yet because we preferred to prioritize overwork in terms of adding new sources into the platform. And I think you all saw that in the latest versions about adding CSV feeds, about adding taxi collections, about adding RSS feeds, and prioritizing like the more like generic approach about like adding new data sources directly from the UI and in the administration panel. And then for the connectors, which are like, mandatory for most of the sources because we need to structure the data into sticks before ingesting one. We have like some plans, but for the moment it's really like the initial reflection. So difficult to have any more details about this, but we know it's a pain and it's taken into account internally.
Thank you, Sam. Don't hesitate to ask question in the chat. We can answer to them directly. So next question, are there any upcoming improvement to enhance UX regarding data segregation between multiple organization in OpenCTI. And Julien, this one is for you.
Yeah, this one it's a bit hard to answer because we don't really have for now a huge of feedback about the fact that this UX for data segregation needs to be improved. So I don't see not so much. I think a ticket on GitHub for that. So to be honest, for now we don't have something really specific to improve this screen for now. Really interested about direct feedback and what needs to be changed inside this bunch of screen. Um, like this, I can imagine multiple sharing at the same time because I think today you need to do one operation each at the time to be able to share to an organization. So maybe we can definitely make this feel multiple. But for the rest of the feature, I don't think I don't have any much ideas. I don't know, Samuel, if you have something in mind, but
No, it was the same. I was like just showing like the current UI
yeah.
about like sharing, so the multiple aspect here. Talking also about like massive operations to be able like to share massively using checkboxes. But yeah, we need direct feedback on these questions because maybe behind that questions it's also how like you handle when you have like something that is shared with an organization and you try to create the same thing on the other side. So the overall experience about like sharing something that and on that we have planned, no, I think.
To be able to have more information and
And to request the access, I think.
yeah, to request access because yes, with I would say access control in OpenCTI is really complex. There is a lot of subject behind access control. So for data segregation, you have the marking, you have the organization, and you also have some authorized members at some point in dashboard. So that's very complex. And when you try to create something that exists but you don't have access to it, for now you just take an error. And we have planned to enhance this experience to be able to know that the creation is refused because you don't have the right to see the information for now, and move on to a kind of data request visibility to be able to get access to this information easily. So that's part of our plan, but I don't know if it's directly related to the question because it's more about the overall experience, but maybe it counts. So
Just
don't
one.
hesitate to create some tickets in the
Yeah.
GitHub if you have any recommendation or request about the experience of data organization sharing. Yeah, it will be really helpful to understand, to have a better understanding of what you expect on enhancing this part.
And maybe one tips for those who don't know, data sharing into organization is also available in playbooks. So which means that basically you have like a component to be able like to share something with an organization directly here. And here the field is supporting multiple selections. So that's quite different, and you can you have like this and the others, so it's supporting like multiple, and then like obviously it's supporting like all the playbook, let's say poor, so which means you can define like criteria to automate like the sharing, so just as an information.
Thank you, guys. Next question. How do I use OpenCTI integration for file analysis using the sandbox and virus total connectors? And this one, Samuel, if you want to take it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So Okay, so maybe one thing about like the ecosystem. So some of you already know that, but maybe you didn't notice that we are compatible with a lot of different sandboxes. So it's coming from any run to hatching triage, to hybrid analysis, to unpack me, VMRay analyzer, and a lot of other sandboxes in Tether sandbox, etc. So sandboxes are widely used in the community and among Filigran customers to be able like to do some malware analysis, and depending on some criteria, etc. So right now, depending on on the kind of connectors, obviously those sandboxes are generally available for files observable and also for artifacts. If it's just file, basically we will just check if the hash, if it's an, let's say, non-sandbox, then you already have like some run, etc., like various total or hybrid analysis. It will just like look at the hash in the previous results of the sandbox and try to get like additional data. The most important and interesting part, I think, is the ability to take any artifacts that can be, in the context of your case management or on an incident, and to the ability to trigger directly here the analysis. Most of the connectors developed in the platform are working in the same way, which means we start by searching the hash. And if the hash is found, we just like get the result from the sandbox. If the hash is not found, we actually trigger the sandbox using the payload itself. And then like it's coming back, and when it's come back into the platform, it's generally generate a malware analysis sticks object with the information about the sandbox, for instance this one on Windows 10. So with the nested object, or maybe not this one, yeah, this one for instance, and it's extracting information from so has captured here like the domain names, etc. And then like you can see that in the knowledge part of the malware analysis. The other way to do that, and what I when I did prepare like this Q&A session, I just started to do one malware analysis automation as well, because those connectors are also available in the playbook systems, which means, for instance, you can have like playbook like this. So you start with a various total enrichment, and then like if the score is greater than 70, you don't do anything, or you send an alert, or you put that, you do whatever you want to do. But if you don't have any match, and if various total is not knowing this file, then like you can trigger a hybrid analysis to get more information in the sandbox. And then like depending on the result of hybrid analysis, you can still like trigger another sandbox or do something else, or retest in various total if the score is no like more known, etc. So we saw like multiple use cases for file analysis. Generally it's coming with artifacts that you can find and collection coming from your incident response. It can be used in conjunction with various total or with other connectors, depending on the results, and then like using the playbook to automate like the different like file analysis. Maybe one last thing, which is not really related to that question, but generally we people don't really like know it, so it's always worth to mention it. You also have like the Yara scan connector that is quite powerful to handle artifacts especially. And this connector enrich any new artifact observables by scanning the content of the uploaded artifacts on every Yara role in the platform. And then if the YARL is matching, it's just creating a relationship between the artifacts and the YARL itself. So it's not really like a sandbox, but some sandboxes have like some capabilities to run some YARL. And I just would like to highlight the fact that in the platform it's native and it's supported by that connector.
Thank you. Next question. Will public proof of concept be implemented to make them available in official documentation? I think this one is for me. So if by proof of concept you mean use case, the answer is quite simple. We do not plan to integrate them into our documentation because we already have several use cases on our website, filigran.io. Let me show you. So you can see here, we already have three use cases online. For each, you can find the benefits, the recurring pain points, and the capabilities of our platform to answer them. You also have the possibility to download them in PDF. Currently, we have 3 use cases, but more will be added regularly. Additionally, very soon, very soon, we will be adding a resource library to our website where you will find various types of documents such as customer stories, tutorial videos, etc., etc. So feel free to check back regularly. Our goal is to provide you with as much information as possible to support your use of our platform. And our website is a great tool for that. So check. And every time we will add a new use case, I can also post something on Slack if you are interested to let you know that another use case is available.
Maybe Margot, if I may, just
Yeah.
add something. So it's exactly that. So we will try like to make like the most like resources available on the website. Maybe two things. We know like from the community that when you start your journey with OpenCTI, generally you would like to say, okay, can I reach someone to help me because I need this? I have like this problem or this pain point, and I need like example on how like this is solved or implemented within like other community members. So we know that sharing precise use cases and examples about like how people are actually using the platform can be very valuable. And I just would like to say that since the creation of Filigran, and especially on the marketing team, and Margot here is a witness of all of that every day, just we make a lot of effort about creating a lot of content. It's taking time. Internally, I think everyone at Filigran is supporting this effort, especially like Germaine, for instance, on the YouTube videos from the solution engineering team. But a lot of other people are also contributing to that use cases, like Luca, etc., and the customer success team and all the teams. So it's taking time. We're working on it. Multiple forms of content to just put like out examples about like how we're using our platform and how like over are using OpenCTI. But we know it's quite important.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Samuel. Next question. How many users can work on OpenCTI? Julien, if you may.
Yeah, we don't have a specific answer for that because the how many it's related to performance really often. So in OpenCTI today, we have a lot of example with people that use the platform with between 10 people or 100 people without any problem. But that really depends of the kind of architecture you deploy and how you manage your deployment and the kind of architecture you want. So what you need to understand that OpenCTI is really flexible in terms of deployment. So the platform can be deployed multiple times, and you can use the different option, and there is a lot of option in the platform to just activate some specific features you want to deploy on the node you decide to deploy. So for example, you can definitely have specific node just deployed for users, some for ingestion, some for just executing the playbooks, and so on. So if you really have like platform that requires to get thousands of users at the same time, you can definitely scale your deployment to give to your users more nodes specifically to give them the dashboard, the data, and so on, without, I would say, struggling in the data ingestion and everything you need to run on top of the, I would say, user interaction with the platform. So we have no benchmark to try to push the boundaries of how many users can be supported with a horizontal scalability like this. But as for now, we never had any feedbacks about people not able to bring all the users they want in the platform. So definitely something scalable. So I would say a lot. There's of course a limit to everything, so I will not say infinite, but you can definitely have more than 100 people easily without any specific deployment. But as soon as you have really a lot of people consuming the data and a lot of connectors and a lot of stuff to do, you need to think about a new architecture and deploy some dedicated node for your users. I think we have something in the documentation talking about the scalability and a good example of the way you can architecture your application if you have a lot of say needs, because by default in Docker, when you start and you begin your journey with OpenCTI, you definitely don't want to think about this kind of architecture that Samuel shared. But at some point, if you grow and you scale and you have a lot of users and billion of entities in your platform, you definitely need to take a look in that in your documentation and think about how you can manage to split the load between ingestion, users you can see on the left. So for example, on this diagram, you can see that we have two dedicated OpenCTI nodes just for end users to support the load and the queries and so on. And we have three OpenCTI just dedicated for the ingestion of data. So you can do more, you can do less. It really depends of your needs and the number of connectors you want, I would say the history you want to keep also in your OpenCTI. So that's not a specific answer, but definitely something you need to think about if you have a large number of users to support in your platform.
Thank you, Julien. Next question. Okay, what does the new extended threat management button in OpenCTI do, and how do I use it? Can I connect OpenBAS with OpenCTI through this feature? Samuel?
Yes, thank you, Marco. Okay, so I will reshare my screen. So yeah, so you have, I think we're talking about this button here. So
Exactly.
yeah, basically, as you know, Filigran is developing a suite of products. At least we're developing two products right now, Open Cyber Threat Intelligence and Open Breach and Attack Simulation and Security Validation platforms. The first reason for that is because we strongly think that anticipating cyber threats and operationalizing threat intelligence is also a question about to really be able to generate and to answer the simple question about, are you ready for the threats that you have in your OpenCTI platform, basically. So we are seeing companies and organizations that are doing a lot of work to track relevant threats, to track relevant TTPs, relevant indicators, and at some point they would like to know and to test and to stress their security posture regarding that threat intelligence. And we think as part of the Filigran's mission to anticipate cyber threats, anticipate future incidents, it could be good to have a suite of products that is really well integrated together, where you can basically take your threat intelligence and use that in breach and attack simulations, as well as in testing your security validations and your security posture. It's also concerning indicators, like being able to say, okay, I'm pushing indicators to my detection systems, to my XDR, to my SIEM, to my MDR or NDR, and I would like to know if it's actually working randomly, for instance, to test if the indicators and the signatures I'm pushing to those systems are correctly detected with the correct levels of severity, etc. So this button for the moment is just like presenting the streets. When you don't have like the product, actually, I think it's red or something like this. When we have like a green point like this, which means like the two platforms are connected. To connect like the two platforms, that like quite easy. In both documentations, you have like configuration parameters. In the configuration of OpenCTI, you have like the XTM suite, so you just have like to put your OpenBAS URL token. You can also like disable the display of OpenBAS in OpenCTI in this kind of parameter, and then once it's connected, we started to roll that. It was part of our last user group, but user group is restricted to partners and customers. So it will enable that button, and also those three things here, which is present on both containers like reports and cases, but also directly in threads, so you can simulate an intrusion set. And by simulating here, you will generate a simulation scenario based on the TTPs you have in your platform. And as soon as the scenario is finished, depending on the result of that simulation, so it could be not detected, not prevented, detected, or prevented, or even like the human response, you will have like the results directly here in the OpenCTI platform. Obviously, it's just like the initial version and the initial reflection about like this integration. You will have like more choices, more buttons, and more integrations and interactions between the two platforms as soon as we progress in the development of this integrated extended threat management suite.
Thank you, Sam. Next question, what's the plan for data management in OpenCTI? For example, future steps in data collection, given the recent telemetry article. Julien, floor is yours.
So the question, I think, I will take the angle of telemetry. So because data management is quite large, so I'm not sure what is exactly the question on this. But yeah, recently we introduced telemetry in the product. So the telemetry is quite simple. That will help us to better understand the usage of the platform and to be able to, I would say, tailor our action depending of the best usage. Finding not the best usage, but what people use the most, and to be able to really identify that and try to tailor the action. We really needs to have some metrics coming from the people that use the platform. So everything, of course, is anonymized, so there is no specific stuff that's coming out. Everything, it's still open source and public, so you can definitely check in the code if you want to be sure that what is exported through the telemetry exporter. But it really gives us the first step about grabbing some activity and metrics to be able to improve the product and know better your usage, and finally the part of application that have the most usage. So you can see here in the documentation that there is some simple stuff for now, like platform version, the creation date, the number of active users, number of nodes for the deployment we talk about. So for now, it's a limited numbers of metrics, but of course, to be able to know exactly what is currently used, it's not yet available. You can see in the list that there's not so much things today to be able to know exactly what kind of features is really used. But that's the next step about telemetry. Really continue to grab some metadata information to be able to create and improve the product in various way. The question about data management is only on that. I don't know if you have any idea on your side, Samuel, Margot, about uh, the direction of this question, because data management in OpenCTI versus telemetry is quite different. So
I have one idea, Margot. We talked about that. It's just like to organize a full Q&A session just on data in OpenCTI. And
Okay,
what we will
that
do and
could be
what
an
is the
idea.
roadmap about, data, about AI, about, management of the data, duplicates, suggestions, all what we have in mind, that I don't want to give the list today because it's a very huge thing. So I think, this question is worth like a full session about like the future of data within OpenCTI, which is not related directly to the telemetry, obviously. But if we're
Mm.
talking about just the data itself, like the knowledge, I think it's worth a dedicated session.
Yeah, totally possible. So let us know if you want us to program this. Could be cool and instructive. We'll see. Okay. Next question. When okay, when can we expect the launch of Open ORM? Also, what will this platform offer? That's a tricky one. Samuel, it's for you.
It is, and I will have like to be very careful about like the answer if I want to keep Jean-Philippe in the team, I think. So okay, so the first thing is just about like the vision itself. So do we have Margot? Okay, just one second. I will share my screen at to stage and. Oh no, it's not here yet. Okay. Okay, it's not
That's
here yet.
very soon.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Okay. No problem. I will like come back here. Yeah, I was looking for the XTM page. So the first thing is we strongly think that risk management overall needs to be threat intelligence driven. This is the first the first insight we have like since the beginning. And this question we had like a lot of them like coming from customers and community members as soon as they know that after OpenBAS we'll develop an enterprise risk management or a cyber risk management platform. And we strongly think that being threat intelligence driven, it's really important. Also, what we are seeing, sorry, it's there is nothing in open source. And you have a lot of companies that need to do risk analysis, and also like SMBs and small and medium companies that need solution that go beyond an Excel sheet, that go beyond what can provide, like, because they're generally relying on consulting firms to do that. And obviously will not like replace consulting firms, but at some point they need something that is threat intelligence driven but also updated in real time. Because what we think is you are not doing a risk analysis on a yearly basis just when you have like to go to your new to your the compliance certifications renewal, and you are not like just taking like this. So what we think is threat intelligence driven, data driven, and also feeded by the security posture coming from your open BAS platform. Then like you will be able like to really identify the risk versus like the scenarios. Risk analysis is always about like confronting um, threat scenarios and your critical assets, whether it is human assets, systems, endpoints, whatever assets you may have, like data, obviously. And so being able to really to really say, okay, you're using your security posture that is updated in real time by OpenBAS. You're using threat intelligence coming from OpenCTI, and all of that will help you in your risk analysis methodology and your risk analysis methods. That is something we think that it bring a lot on the table for risk analysis in general. Also, we think that right now, like all the platforms that are existing, and some of them are really, really great, are missing a lot of like integrations and a lot of things in real time to be able like to adjust. Generally, all the platforms that are doing risk analysis in real time are based on security scoring and cyber scoring in general. So we want just to bring more, like to bring more methodologies, the ability also to say, okay, you have threat intelligence coming in your platform about like your ecosystem, for instance, of suppliers, and this will directly generate some risk analysis in the platform. So this is like the vision. And then when you can expect the launch, because it was like the original question. We are working on specifications internally. We have like multiple initiatives right now as we speak to have like really a detailed first minimum viable product specifications. I mean this summer, so even like before the summer to be sure exactly. So at some point after this step, we'll be able like to share with some of you if you want the state of what we will build. And then like it's difficult to say when the MVP will actually be out. We would like obviously to release that, beginning of next year. Don't know when exactly. We would like to start the work as soon as possible. But also I also would like to share with you that the priority right now is to continue obviously like the work on OpenCTI and its heavy works, and we have like a 3-year roadmap, and all the people that are following us on the user groups of the quarterly user group know that the roadmap is quite ambitious. But then open bass is the second priority. It's the same priority, but the second priority is really about like having a very strong breach and attack simulation and security validation platform at the end of the year with all the features that the community is expecting, and OpenERM is will then like follow.
Thank you, Sam.
I don't know, Julian, if you want to add something about OpenERM and about like the current path that we have in terms of product development.
No, I think it's quite clear the explanation you give. It's exactly where we are. So the vision is here. We are currently exploring the situation and what we want to do exactly, and we expect to start the development quite soon. But honestly, we are still we are not so big yet. We have a lot of developers, but we have OpenCTI, we have OpenBAS, and so it's the main focus for now. So OpenERM will start, obviously, but we expect to have an MVP soon, but that's definitely not the main priority, like Samuel said. So I hope we will have something quickly, but yeah, we have no specific date we are able to communicate right now.
Thank you. I saw someone very excited about that on the chat, so no pressure, guys. Okay, next question. Do you intend to have local teams in the US? Julien, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. The answer is simple. Is yes, of course. So part of Filigran expansion is really targeting the US and Australia, and the main reason is to be able to have local support of all the people that use our product in these countries. Um, so we definitely need to have local people to be able to be close to the field and help all the users as much as possible. So, and it's already the case, almost the case. I think we start to hire people in US, already. So Filigran does not really exist yet in terms of company in the US, but is in progress. It will be soon. But we already have local people in the US to support the effort and start to help people as close as possible. So yeah, US for now, Australia, and then we will see where in the world is more efficient to have people to help on the local side. Don't know, Samuel, if you want to add something on this, but yes is always a simple answer.
Yeah, high priority, I would say.
Thank you, Julien and Samuel. Okay, next question. That's our last prepared question. So, will you organize events in countries other than France? And I think we can also answer that. Will you organize events in France?
Yeah. Exactly, like the what I would like to share. So maybe Margot, you can complete after me, but yeah, so because it's community Q&A, so we're not really talking about like the Filigran, like more like corporate events or all the business conventions we're taking part, for instance, in London or in France or in the US. We're more like talking here, and I would like to talk here about like community events, and we'll start like to have some meetups and some gathering physically for the community. It will start very, very soon. I will let Margot share like some details after. And obviously those events for the community will not be limited to France. And we'll start obviously with the two countries where we have like people locally, which are United States and Australia, but it can be also organized elsewhere. And last thing about this is please reach out because we will have like some models about like upcoming meetups, etc. And so if you would like to help us organizing that, if you are like open to help us or even organize something in your country, that's definitely possible.
Totally. And I don't know if I can share the date with you right now, but yeah, we will organize very soon our first meetup in France. The first one will take place in Paris for more convenience for us, and a second one in France too by the end of the year. So two meetups this year. And next year we will go in other countries. And as Samuel said, if you want to help us or if you want to participate, I don't know how, but if you want to join us for one meetup to maybe share your use case, do a demo with us, it's totally possible. So don't hesitate to send us messages about that, your thoughts, any feedback, anything you want, to be honest. But yeah, stay tuned. Okay, that was our last prepared question. So the chat is open. If you have any additional question, feel free to ask. We'll let you a few minutes to write something if you want. No question, folks? Don't hesitate, we're here for that.
I think we don't have additional questions.
Okay, so I think it's time to announce the winner of our draw. I don't know if you are here today, but congratulations to Sudesh Yelavarti, and sorry if I mispronounce your name. We'll be reaching out to you via email shortly to arrange delivery of your prize. We will send you a Filigran t-shirt and a Filigran hoodie. Please send us some pictures when you receive them. We can't wait to see photos of you wearing your prize. And once again, congratulations and thank you for your participation. We are now at the end of this session. Thank you to each of you for joining us today. I hope it was helpful and instructive for you. For this inaugural session, we decided to keep the discussion broad, but future session will dive into specific platforms and topics. So if there is a particular topic you would like us to cover, or if you have any suggestion for improvement, please don't hesitate to share your thoughts and feedback with us on Slack. It will be very helpful. And once again, thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next time. And one last word, depending on your time zone, we wish you a good day or a good evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time.